Good morning. Today is September 13th, 2020, and it's time to make another video. I kicked off my channel 9 months ago. I said I would make other videos. I did, say as time allows, and I probably did have some time, but I spent it doing other things. I really don't have a lot of time, but I just had to make a video. There's so many things going on right now. I have to make a video. There's some things that I need to address and just kind of touch base with everyone. We are now in what appears to be the third surge of the COVID pandemic. It's so interesting. In the news, you hear about hospitals filling up, where patients wait in the ER for days waiting for an ICU bed. My hospital did see that, where patients did have to wait in the ER, 12, 24, 36 hours for an ICU bed. Currently, that's not the case, which is really strange. We actually have empty beds in our ICU, but we did see that as recently as a couple of weeks ago, but we're not seeing that now. I wonder if it is a regional thing where some regions have just kind of flare-ups of the COVID pandemic, where there's just a lot of COVID patients, a lot of COVID cases, and then for a time, the hospitals in that region get very full, and then patients either die or get better, and then the census drops down again. That appears to be what's happening in at least my hospital right now, from the looks of it. And the census can go up and down very quickly in a matter of days or hours. So I worked yesterday. I didn't count how many patients we had. The unit felt slightly full, but I know as recently as a week or so ago we had several empty beds. So, but that is naturally what happens in a hospital, whether there's a pandemic or not. There is a natural rise and fall of a census, and there is a nursing shortage that happens to be the case across the board all the time, and you add a pandemic on top of that, and if the patient census is high, and then you consider that there's a nursing shortage, which happens to be there all the time, then whoa, we have a problem. Patients are waiting in the ER for a long time. Maybe that's what's happening regionally. I'm not sure, but yeah. So this is the third wave of the pandemic. It's starting to feel like, here we go again. And there's some anger now among the nurses, where we're tired. There's a lot more sighing, where it's really hard to describe. Disappointment is probably a word that didn't really enter my mind when I made the video, my first video, which was, during the second pandemic. I remember making a video 9 months ago and saying that we're tired, we're sad, we're stressed, we are those kinds of words. But disappointed was not a word that was even in my radar. And I use that word in general, disappointed. I myself don't really feel disappointed. I feel in a sense of, like disappointed in the public. No, I don't really feel disappointed in the public. No, I feel disappointed that this thing is still here. The COVID virus is still here. And there's a lot in the news and the media that just shifts blame. And whose fault is it? Is it the vaccinated? Is it the unvaccinated? No one says it's the vaccinated's fault, although I have seen hints of studies that may imply that it's the vaccinated people who are really spreading. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse 25 years. I know that viruses change. We all, the general public, we go to public school. A lot of us don't get a great education in the public school. When you go to educate the masses, you lose quality most of the time. When you educate a lot of people, you lose quality. So in science class, most of us should have learned that viruses, when they replicate, they change a little bit. That's how they survive. That's what they do. Viruses change. So, okay, the Delta virus. No one should have been surprised that the COVID virus changed a little bit. It's going to change again, too. There's going to be new viruses. There was something in the news that I read maybe a week ago about the Mu virus, MU virus. Okay, that's not a surprise. And as viruses replicate, they replicate into different strands. Some strands will be weaker and will just die off. Some strands will be stronger. And so the Delta virus obviously was one strand that came out stronger with different characteristics, affecting a different population, and just. But it's going to keep happening. It is a virus. Viruses change. When you think about the flu vaccine, we have to have a different flu vaccine every year because the flu continues to change every year. And so if you take that logic and you walk it through, we may end up needing a yearly COVID vaccine because the COVID virus is going to keep changing. It's going to keep changing. We're never going to kill it. It's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. It's a virus. It keeps changing. That's just science, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. And I don't know why. But that's what viruses do. You can Google it. You can look it up. That's what they do. So viruses just change. That's just what they do. So as far as the nursing standpoint with patients, there does seem to be a lot of disappointment, and I'm kind of disappointed that there seems to be anger towards the public because there seems to be this general attitude among some healthcare workers that if you don't get vaccinated, then you don't care about your fellow man. That there's some selfishness. There's you either are dumb or you don't care. There's no other option. And I'm not including the people who are not vaccinated because they shouldn't be or can't be. Like there's some autoimmune or health reason why they should not get vaccinated. I'm talking about people who are choosing not to get vaccinated. There's this attitude that they're either dumb or selfish. And I don't think either of those are correct. And I do hear healthcare providers talking in negative terms like that about people who haven't gotten vaccinated. And I think that is wrong. That is completely wrong. Like no one knows what happens inside the four walls of a house. People have their own reasons why they don't get vaccinated. And I hear others talk about, well, there's other vaccines and polio, mumps, that these are all, mandated and no one has a problem with that. And I bet you that if you were to pull a random person out of a population of unvaccinated people and you were to ask them, why do you choose not to get vaccinated? You would probably find that they just don't trust the vaccine, that they're concerned that this vaccine maybe hasn't been studied enough, or they're concerned about the long-term effects. And okay, the vaccine has been around, a year, less than a year, and yes, it has been given to many hundreds of thousands, millions of people. I don't know. And so far so good. Several thousand deaths, okay, injuries, okay, but out of millions of people, odds don't sound too bad. But there are folks that are saying, okay, what about years down the road, 10 years down the road? That's a fair concern. That's a fair concern. And so that is a valid concern, and it's not right to dismiss that. So I just don't understand that. They have a choice. They have a choice to make. They've made their choice, and then just leave them the heck alone. And I've actually gotten into that topic earlier in this video than I meant to, but that just fires me up. I wanted to start out by talking about how nurses are dealing right now with the influx of COVID patients, but then our census was kind of low in the hospital. But personally, I have kind of started having a little bit of fun at work. We carry these 10cc syringes at work. They're pre-filled syringes, and they've already got saline in them. And I've just started kind of shooting other nurses up with these 10cc syringes, and I'm calling it saline wars. And there's a couple of nurses that I have that I've shot them up with this. You just aim at them and you shoot. You just get them wet, and it is so funny. It is so funny, and it just gives us something to laugh about, and it just kind of put some fun in your day. So just different ways to have fun during the day. Of course, if someone is really not doing well, you have to use judgment on that. But if things are kind of slow in the ICU, you got to find ways to kind of make the day fun, So the elephant in the room, the thing that really drove me to make this video right now is, President Biden has mandated that companies who have over 100 employees are going to be required to mandate to require their employees to all get vaccinated. The one thing that I don't understand is, here's the thing: if you're vaccinated, you're good. If you're vaccinated, you are protected. An unvaccinated person poses no threat to you. Although if you're vaccinated, you can still get COVID, just like an unvaccinated person can. But if your reasoning is that you should get vaccinated to protect you from COVID, then if you're vaccinated, call it good, you're good. Okay, so I have not mentioned this in my videos before, but I am a veteran. I served in the Army for 6 years, and I'm very proud of that. The reason I served is because I love my country. I love my country. There is a flag on my vehicle. I wear clothing with the American flag. I stand up for our freedom. I stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I love our flag. I love my country, and I serve because this is my country, and I love Americans. I'm just like that. I'm just wired that way, and we're all Americans. We're all Americans. And I served to protect our freedoms in this country. I served to protect our freedoms in this country. The freedom to move about the country, to freedom to make our own choices, freedom to protect you from a tyrannical government. And so for the President of the United States to say, you must get this injection, you cannot choose for yourself whether to get this injection or not. That is Mm-mm. That thought is rejected. It's rejected. And some people are like celebrating that idea, and I don't think that many have really thought that out, because that starts us down a slippery slope. First of all, I think there's going to be tons of lawsuits behind that, but uh, the answer to that is no. And just because the president of the United States says you must do this, we are all free thinkers. We're Americans. It's not a dictatorship. So if he does something that is unconstitutional, then say no. It's not constitutional. I'm not gonna do that. And I don't know what companies are gonna do. Um, I myself am vaccinated because I'm in graduate school and I felt pressure to get vaccinated, because many clinical sites are not allowing students to come and do clinicals in their areas if the students are not vaccinated. Now, the vaccination issue was not a hill I was willing to die on. So I was like, okay, fine, here, go ahead, do it. And, I'm not very happy that I didn't get to, make my choice. My choice was to not get vaccinated, but I went ahead and did it. And I'm not real happy that I felt pressure to do it. But I'm even more unhappy that this is being forced on Americans, that people are, having to make the choice whether to get the injection or lose their job. That is just so wrong. That is not America. That is not freedom. Now, the one thing I tried to think this through, and the media is portraying that the hospitals are filling up with COVID patients. Therefore, if Aunt Sally has a heart attack, there's not going to be a bed available for Aunt Sally because the hospitals, ICUs are full of COVID patients. Well, like I had started in the beginning of the video, my hospital has empty beds. So, I do go back and forth because I have seen that there are a lot of COVID patients in the hospital, but then sometimes there aren't. We had empty beds recently. And then I've heard other people say, well, okay, so if there's an unvaccinated person, if a person chooses not to get vaccinated, then don't come to the hospital or don't treat them. Don't give them an ICU bed. And, that's not really correct either, because are you going to say to a smoker, if you get lung cancer, don't come to the hospital? Are you going to say to an obese person, if you get diabetes and end up in kidney failure because of it, don't come to the hospital? Are you going to say to an alcoholic who ends up with liver failure, don't come to the hospital because you chose to drink? They are also taking up beds. In fact, on a daily basis, when we don't have COVID around, those are the people who are taking up empty beds. Kidney failure, liver failure, heart attacks, strokes, due to cardiovascular disease. People make choices all the time that put them in these negative circumstances and have adverse effects on their health and put them in the hospital. That's why we have hospitals. They make choices. And the consequences of their choices, they end up with these diseases. And one thing, that I really find interesting is that no one really is talking about obesity and its effect on the outcome when you have COVID. It appears like if you get COVID and you're obese, the likelihood of you having a good outcome from having COVID it's pretty slim. You're not going to do well if you're obese. But I haven't heard anyone talk about losing weight. I've heard no one say, America, let's lose 10 pounds. Let's optimize our chances of doing okay with COVID. And let's lose 10 pounds. Instead, I'm hearing, let's mask up. Let's get the shot. You must get the shot. But I guess maybe it's maybe the weight is not a comfortable issue. I just don't know. I don't really understand it. I don't really understand it. But I think that bottom line, what I would say is that, I work in an ICU, so I do see that there are, it appears, I don't go around to each room and look into the charts of other patients to see, okay, I see this person's in the ICU for COVID. Let me look in a chart. Have they been vaccinated or not? Have they been vaccinated or not? I don't have the data, okay, to say with assurance, out of this many people with COVID, these people have been vaccinated, these people have not. But in general terms, I can tell you there are vaccinated people in the hospital who are not doing well, who have COVID, who are not doing well, and there are unvaccinated people who are in the hospital who are not doing well. It does appear like the majority of the people who are not doing well are unvaccinated people. I am honest with you. I'm telling you the truth. Most of the people in the hospital who are not doing well with COVID are not vaccinated. But there are people who are in the hospital who have been vaccinated who are not doing well as well. So it does appear to be like the vaccine is helping with severe symptoms of COVID. I do not think that people should be forced to be vaccinated. I believe that this is a free country and people should make their own choice. So like if you choose to not be vaccinated, then you're going to have to deal with those consequences, and that's on you. But you are free to make that choice. I personally feel like, I needed time to see, how's this going to play out. Some of the nurses and we joked at the beginning when the vaccine was first put out. There was a lot of hesitancy, and I still would not be vaccinated, I don't think, if I didn't feel the pressure to. But some of the nurses and I thought, okay, let's just watch who's going to grow the third breast or not. We've joked like that, but I needed time, and I probably would still need more time, and I don't know how much time I need. I'm just being honest with you. I'm one of those where I'm just not sure about it, just not sure, and I have a right to feel that way, and people have a right to listen to their own intuition and make the choice that is right for themselves. Just like the alcoholic, the drinker has a right to drink themselves to death. They have a right to do that. Okay, they don't have a right to drink and drive. They have a right to drink. The obese person has a right to go to McDonald's and eat all the Big Macs and all the Cokes they want, and they may end up with diabetes and kidney failure and end up in the ICU and take a bed. Okay, we'll take care of you. If you're an alcoholic, you end up in liver failure. Okay, we'll take care of you. If you smoke and you end up with lung cancer, we'll take care of you. If you get COVID and you end up in respiratory failure, we'll take care of you. And I can just hear right now someone saying, yeah, but if you don't get vaccinated and you give COVID to someone else, then you're affecting your community. Well, if my answer to that is, if you are concerned about getting COVID, then get vaccinated, right? Because, the science says that if you get vaccinated, then you won't get severe symptoms from COVID. It appears right now that the vaccine won't keep you from getting COVID. Everyone's going to get COVID eventually, it looks like. Just prepare yourself. You're probably going to end up with COVID sometime. Hopefully it'll just be cold symptoms, But if you get vaccinated, you probably won't end up in a hospital with severe COVID, okay? So if you are concerned that you're going to end up with COVID, with severe symptoms, then get vaccinated. Choose to be vaccinated. Choose to be vaccinated, and then you'll be good. But if you do not want to be vaccinated, you should have a choice. You can choose. You should be able to choose to not get vaccinated. So I will be very interested to see how this all plays out. Legal wise, I know there's teams of attorneys for companies. Some companies are just choosing to just say, We're just not going to force anyone to get vaccinated. Not other companies are just not sure what they're going to do. So I support people's right to choose to get vaccinated. It does appear like it's a good idea to be vaccinated, but I support your choice to be vaccinated or not, because I support freedom to choose or not. And in the whole issue about hospitals getting filled up with ICU beds with COVID patients, I just don't know about that. Our hospital's not filled up. I can't speak for others. But our hospital also has people in it with other health issues, because of people made other choices to smoke or drink or eat poorly. I haven't done an official study of it, but if you live a healthy life, you're probably not going to end up in a hospital with kidney failure or lung cancer or a heart attack or a stroke. Make better choices. And if there were one thing that I could say to Americans, I'll be the one to say it. And I myself am trying to lose weight. So, to all of you negative who want to post anything negative about me, I myself am overweight. So I'm trying to eat healthier. I'm trying to lose weight because I want to live a long time for my children. I'm there with you. But I'm going to be the first to say it. America needs to lose weight. And COVID is just one, maybe this is a good reason to lose weight. 10, 20, 30 pounds, 40, 50, 60 pounds. If you're not overweight, when you get COVID, you will do better, it seems to me. There are some people who are not overweight who don't do well, but it seems like the majority of the people who do not do well with COVID are overweight. Yeah. It'll be interesting what kind of comments I'll get on this video, but from the very beginning, I want to be transparent and supportive, and the purpose of this channel from the very beginning has been to educate other nurses, educate the public. And I don't claim to be anyone special, but what I bring to this video is experience. I've been an ICU nurse for 25 years. I am a veteran, and I love my country. I love my country. I am also a nurse practitioner, but I don't really put that out there because I'm a new nurse practitioner. So yes, I have the education, but the majority of the weight behind everything that I'm saying, it comes from my experience as an ICU nurse, as an RN, as an ICU nurse. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I'll make another video as time allows. I'm excited that fall is coming. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks.